Video, audio. Others also. Audio is coming correct, not visible. Video you are saying. Not a problem. Others are also facing the same problem. Hello. Maybe I have video is which heavy. Both are fine. I have increased slightly the font size. Maybe we proceed, then maybe the things will be clear. Video is bit hazy. Okay, no issue. Let's proceed. If the problem persists, I will re-log in. Or maybe if one or two students will face, then they will re-log in. Don't worry. Ah. So should we start? Yes, thank you. Now Venkatesh, the doubt which you have sent, I will be discussing anyhow in the class during the class. Don't worry. The present value concept and all that which we are saying is relevant in many chapters, not only in leasing, in the entire syllabus 4-5 places. So I will discuss that in the class. Don't worry. You will be able to understand the leasing present value and every present value. Okay? Don't worry. Now, whatever we are going to discuss today, it is fully relevant for IFRS exam and it is fully relevant for ACCA SBR exam. There is no difference. Nothing I am going to discuss today which is not relevant for IFRS. In the previous class when I discussed, then I said that that type of questions, as far as questions is concerned, they don't ask questions on conceptual framework, regulatory framework in IFRS exam. They don't ask. But the syllabus of IFRS includes conceptual framework and regulatory framework. That is not the case. That means syllabus is there. What we discussed in the previous class was the syllabus. But then the questions in IFRS exam, deep IFRS, they don't ask on conceptual framework and regulatory framework. But today whatever I am going to discuss is in the syllabus of ACCA and ACCA SBR IFRS both, and the questions levels are also same. So there is no problem. Okay. So now today whatever I will be teaching, it is fully relevant for IFRS and ACCA SBR. As I said in the previous class, anytime, whenever I will be discussing something which is slightly higher level, I will be saying that this will not be coming in diploma IFRS exam. So the student, those who are giving diploma IFRS exam, they will understand the concept just for their knowledge, not for the exam. But in the today class, everything is common. The second thing, the first class video link I gave to all of you, YouTube link in WhatsApp, it is uploaded on YouTube. This class and further classes will not be uploaded on YouTube. So I will not be giving any link of the class once the class is over for recording purpose. You have the software installed. In the software, there is a new folder, ACCA SBR IFRS folder, 2021 exam. You will be able to see the recordings there. The first class recording also, the second class. But the recordings will be available by the end of the day, not instantly. Once the class will be over, by the end of the day, you will be able to see the recordings in your software. And you will be able to see through the software only. If somebody has not yet installed the software, communicate with my technical team. After 10 a.m., they will help you in the installation so that you can see the recordings. Please, again, I am reminding, this class recordings is not going to be uploaded on YouTube. This will be available through the software. The software most of you have installed. In the software, there will be a new folder that is ACCA SBR 2021. You will be able to see under that folder this second class recordings by today evening and all the classes recordings. They will not be shared with you as a link of the class, not required. In the software, the class will be uploaded. You can download from the software and then you can see the recordings. The third thing, last thing, as I said in the previous class also, again reminding, if somebody is not going to do the live classes, maybe joined in the previous class, today class, maybe one or two more, but know that it will not be possible for him or her to attend the live classes. My advice, don't focus on these recordings. The recordings which has been given to you, you do them, it will be better. Because otherwise after 15-20 days, you will be started asking which recording I should be doing. So there is no difference in the recordings. There is no difference in the syllabus. It's just that examples and all that are different. And how I will be able to remember what I taught in the previous batch, comma, full stop? Not possible. So there is no change in the syllabus. If somebody is focusing on recording, don't concentrate on both the sides. Just follow the recordings which has already been given to you. Last thing, if you have any technical issue, as I said in the previous class, recordings are not running, materials are not there, anything, you connect with my team, they will help you. I have given the numbers of the team in the class slides, which is mailed to all of you. The mail IDs are there from which you are getting the classes. If you are calling them, they are not picking, don't panic. Just mail them, just message them. I will say mail them, your query will be resolved. And if you have any issue in understanding the subject, in understanding any IFRS, then you will be connecting with me directly. You can WhatsApp me, you can call me, you can mail me. There is no problem. All these things, please don't forget, which we took around 1.5 hours to discuss everything, the modality. And if anybody is facing problem with the ACCA Institute, then mail to the institute along with CC to us. My team will take care. Okay. So now we are proceeding. As we discussed in the previous class, in the class slides, I have written already. 1 second. So as we discussed in the last class, how we are going to complete. Then I said that even though I discussed in the last class relating to conceptual framework, but that I have not considered as accounting of the class. We will be doing non-current assets in coming 3-4 classes. Today class and maybe further 3 to 4 classes. Then we will be following this entire way which I have discussed in our classes to complete the syllabus. This will be the methodology I will follow. So when we discussed in the previous class that I will be going with non-current assets. So I am starting that only. In non-current assets, there are 6 to 7 IAS IFRS. We need to cover all that. It's not a one IAS IFRS. 7 to 8 IFRS IAS are there relating to non-current assets. So first of all, we are talking IAS 16, property, plant and equipment. Which material we will refer for study purpose? Generally the short notes which is shared by the institute, which I have mailed to all of you separately, even though it is included in the notes given by my team, but I have mailed separately in the previous class along with the class slides. If somebody has joined after that, I will again give that separately in the mail today again, double time. So don't worry. Relating to notes and all that, you will be definitely getting. There are so many notes, we get confused, but we are going to follow these notes, which are 2021 notes shared by the ACCA Institute with me for teaching in the class. in 2021 only. So I will be referring them. Along with that, we will be referring the study text, Kaplan study text, which I generally like. The Kaplan study text, Kaplan study text, and maybe sometime exam kit also, generally in the class less. But as I communicated in the first class, you should be trying questions from the exam kit on your own regularly. And as I said in the previous class, the way of study, if you follow that, you will be feeling very comfortable. So we are going with non-current assets. The first IS IFRS, which is property, plant and equipment. In my business, Saraf Academy, while doing my business activities, I am using property, plant and equipment. Property is this place where I am taking the class. You can say this is an studio. In this property, I am conducting my business activities. We have an office also. Presently, the studio is constructed in my house because of Corona earlier also. But we have an office where the staff comes, do work. So that is also a property I am using in the business. How long I am using? Already for around 10 years. How long I will be using in the future? Forever. I am going to use the property for my business activities forever. If I will say computer, laptop, camera, all these things are there, that I am also using in the business. For conducting my business activities, for providing classes. If you log in through double machine, you will face problem. I don't have an issue. Because in the same internet, you will pressurizing the internet. Log in from one place, as we discussed in the first class also. That's my advice. Second is your choice. Don't log in from two places. Otherwise, the internet will create an issue. Sanjana. Okay, let's proceed. So I am using this laptop, computer, camera, and so many assets which can be said as plant and machinery for conducting my classes. Equipment can be treated as furnitures and all that, which I am also using for conducting my business activities. I am not in a business in selling property. I am not in a business in selling computer, laptop. I am not in a business in selling furnitures. These are the assets which are treated as non-current assets. And these non-current assets, why they are said as non-current? That means they will be used in the business for many years. In my business activities are there. In any other company, their business activities. The business activities are production, selling, marketing, or maybe I can say that any other activity which the business is conducting for providing their goods and services. In conducting their business activities, they are using those assets for, you can say, conduct their business for many years, for indefinite period. The condition is it should be a non-current asset. The current assets, suppose cash, inventory, receivables. If there is an inventory, it will be sold out generally within a year. If there is cash, then they will be used in the business, plus minus every time will be happening. So current assets are those assets which changes their value regularly. But non-current assets are those assets which are not changing their value regularly. And they will be used in conducting the business activities. Non-current assets are generally said as non-monetary assets. What is the difference between monetary and non-monetary? Suppose I have a receivable from a customer 50,000 rupees. Now the customer will pay me exactly 50,000, maybe after 5 days, 10 days. I will not receive less than 50 and he will not give me more than 50,000. Suppose in bank account my balance is 1 lakh, that is 1 lakh only. Monetary assets or monetary liabilities are those against which fixed payment or fixed receipt will be happening. But non-monetary assets means no fixed cash inflow or outflow. I am using this property. At what price I will be able to sell this property? I don't know. I am using the computer laptop camera. At what price I will be able to sell my laptop camera? I don't know. There is no fixed price. In the current assets, inventory is also a non-monetary asset. In the current asset, inventory is also a non-monetary asset, because if a company is dealing in computer, laptop, purchasing and selling, at what price they will be able to sell the computer? Don't know. There can be change in the price. There can be change in technology, anything. For anything for which we can get exact cash, we know, then in that case, that is called monetary assets. So all the non-current assets, all, they are non-monetary assets. We don't know what is the price we will be getting. But the non-monetary assets, the non-current assets, will be used in the business activities for more than 1 year. How I will be using them? Maybe I will be using this place for 1 hour, for 5 hours, for training class, for what business? That's my lookout. That means the control over the assets belongs to me. The ownership is not essential. We have leased asset also, different accounting standard, where we say that even though I am not the owner, but still it will be treated as a non-current asset in my books. It will be treated as my asset, which is said as right to use the asset. So we can say that legality, the accounts is not concerned with legality of your transaction. Legal substance is not essential. Nature of transaction is essential. If I have the control over the asset, where it will be used, when it will be used, how it will be used, in which business it will be used, that control is mine. That means I am controlling my asset. And because of the control, what I will be getting? Economic benefit. In future, I will be getting economic benefit by utilizing my non-current assets. Since I have the control, so I will be utilizing my non-current asset in my economic business activities. What is economic activity? Maybe for generating revenue, maybe for reducing cost, maybe for controlling cost. The economic benefit is not necessarily related with increase in income, increase in revenue. No, it can be related with a decrease in cost also. That is also an economic benefit. But I am going to get the economic benefit in future. 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. When it is an asset, when it is a non-current asset in which the business is not doing their business, I mean to say they are using for the business activity. The business activity in different types of industry, in different business are categorized into different things. Those business activities, we are going to use that asset for many years, more than 1 year. The control over the use of the assets belongs to me. And because of the control, because of the usage in the business, I will be able to get economic benefits by use of the asset in the business. That economic benefit can be increase in revenue, can be decrease in expenses, can be anything. When these basic conditions are satisfied, then we can see that this is a non-current asset. For the time being, I am talking about tangible non-current asset, which is property, plant and equipment. Property means land and building. Plant and machinery, motor car, anything. Machineries and equipment means furnitures and all that. But we are going to record in the financial statement property, plant and equipment only one single heading. Not that if we have 10 building, 10 plant and machinery, we are going to record in the balance sheet one by one. That will be there in the notes to accounts, that will be there in the disclosures. But in the balance sheet, you will be able to see one single figure in the balance sheet asset side, under assets, non-current assets, property, plant and equipment, which we discussed in the previous class, the format of the financial position, which is balance sheet. So we are discussing that one single item in the balance sheet, in the statement of financial position, the property, plant and equipment. What is a property, plant and equipment? Suppose I am in the business of constructing property or purchasing property and then letting it out on rental basis. You can say I am in the construction business. I am purchasing buildings, I am constructing building, and then those buildings I am letting it out. Can I say that it is a, what I should say, property, plant and equipment as per IS 16? Can I say? If I am in the business, of constructing property or maybe purchasing property and then letting it out on rent, can I say that I am in the business of construction business? Can I say? And can I say that that property is a property as per IS 16, property, plant and equipment? But then the IS 2 inventory does not consider the financial assets and does not, means stock, shares and bonds, and does not consider inventory of a construction business. It is specifically written in IS 2. We are not discussing IS 2 for the time being, but Sushant, the IS 2 is specifically right that we are not talking about inventory of a construction business. One thing. Second thing, the definition of non-current assets, property, plant and equipment says assets are held for use in the production. That is, maybe I am in the manufacturing industry using the assets in the production activity or supply of goods and services, maybe truck delivery or services like me, this computer, laptop, or for rental to others. Understand, comma, rental to others, or for administrative purpose. Every big companies have their administrative office. I have the administration office. Whatever assets are there, that is administration purpose. The company will be doing those administration activities forever. What is the meaning of for rental to others? What is the meaning of this for rental to others? Property, plant and equipment are tangible assets that are held for use in the production or supply of goods and services for rental to others or for administrative purpose. So how this will be decided for rental to others? Is this talking about rental to others only for computer, laptop, or it is talking about for rental to others even the property also? Everybody. Sushant, Venkatesh, Sravani, Ashish, how we interpret this for rental to others? Then it is coming in IS 16 only. It is a part of IS 16 only. Maybe there is confusion in Venkatesh, Srivani and others. Please let me give me example. Suppose in Saraf Academy I have surplus money. I have done very good business in Saraf Academy. Huge students. I got huge money. I have surplus money. That surplus money I have invested in a property. That property I am not going to use in the business activity. That property maybe I have let out for getting rental income, or maybe I have invested when the prices will increase, I will sell out. My business is not construction business. My business is not property purchasing and selling. My business is not property letting out. I am purchasing a property not for using in the business activity, not for training classes. I have invested my surplus money in an investment property. Then in that case, it will not come in IS 16. Then the question of IS 40 investment property will come. But if I am in the business of purchasing property, constructing property, and then letting it out, then in that case, that property is coming under IS 16 only. Everybody, are you getting clarity? If my business is purchasing and letting property, my business, then it is not investment property. If my business is not purchasing and letting property, then in that case it is an investment property. And investment property does not come in IS 16. But if you are purchasing assets for rental to others, that is your business, then in that case that will be part of IS 16 only. Everybody is getting clarity? So property, plant and equipment defined by IS 16 are held for use in the production or for supply of goods and services or for rental to others or in the administrative purpose, and are going to be used like that for more than a year, because for that reason they are non-current. Non-current means greater than 1 year. Up till now we are discussing only the definition of property, plant and equipment. That is, if anybody will ask or there is any confusion practically any time, then which assets will be treated as an asset as per IS 16? Property, plant and equipment. I gave my business example. I take some example. Maybe if not now, any time in future, you have any confusion anywhere, then you will connect with me to clear your doubts. That whether it is a property, plant and equipment as per IS 16 or not. We need to, whenever the confusion arises, we need to correlate with the definition, the confusion will be over. Now this property, plant and equipment which I am using in the Saraf Academy or anybody is using in their business for more than a year, they will be recorded in the balance sheet at carrying value. What is the carrying value? That is the cost minus the accumulated depreciation. For the time being, I am using the word cost, but after 20-30 minutes, I will change the word cost. We can say that the value initially recorded minus the accumulated depreciation. If 1 year is over, the initial recognition minus the depreciation of 1 year. If 2 years is over, the initial value minus the 2 years total accumulated depreciation. If 3 years is over, then initial value minus the 3 years accumulated depreciation. In my case, suppose I am using this computer, laptop, camera for say 6 years. Then the amount recorded 6 years back minus the accumulated depreciation of 6 years. The balance value I am recording in the balance sheet as a carrying value. Carrying in the balance sheet, carrying in the financial statement, and the every year depreciation is recorded in the income statement as an expense to calculate net profit every year, profit and loss account, net profit. The every year depreciation is recorded in the PL account as an expense, because accounting principle, not I mean to say IS, matching principle, matching of expenses against the revenue earned. If I am earning revenue from my training classes, then in generating that revenue, the assets, economic benefits I am realizing in many years. The period in which I am going to realize the economic benefits, in that period, in that basis, the asset will be depreciated. And that depreciation has to be deducted from my sales revenue, from income, to calculate net income every year. So in the balance sheet, in the statement of financial position, we will record carrying value, which is not only 1 year depreciation, all the accumulated depreciation for the years for which we are holding the assets. And in the PL account, income statement, we record depreciation as an expense. When we discussed in the previous class, PL account, depreciation will be coming under which head? When we discussed in the last class format of the PL account balance sheet, then depreciation expense for the year will be coming under which head? Anybody? When the asset is used for production activity, manufacturing activity, then the depreciation will be coming under cost of goods sold. When the depreciation is used for administration activity, then the depreciation of that asset will be coming under administration expenses. If the asset is used for selling and distribution activity, then the depreciation on the asset will be coming under selling and distribution cost. Because in the PL account we discussed sales minus cost of goods sold, gross profit, minus admin and selling, operating income. From operating income, minus interest, non-operating income, PBT, minus tax, PAT. Then you can see profit or loss from discontinued operations, and then other comprehensive income. So depreciation is not a separate heading in PL account. It depends upon the purpose, the activity for which you are using the asset. If you are using for manufacturing activity, under cost of goods sold. If you are using for admin activity, under administration. If you are using for selling and distribution activity, under selling. Pretty simple. Because we are not in the bacha class, where we will say sales minus material, opening stock, purchase, labor, salary. Not like that. There is a format of income statement. There is a format of financial statement. We need to follow that format. And whenever we are studying any topic, always correlate the format. For that reason, I said in the previous class what? Everybody should prepare the format without any figures once in their Word file, so that you are conversant with the format. And whenever we will discuss any topic, regularly the format will become common thing. I discussed the conceptual framework also slightly. Whenever we are going to discuss every topic, conceptual framework will be coming. Believe me, you will realize that maybe the conceptual framework in IFRS exam is not asked, but still the conceptual framework ke basis pe, because that is the framework on which the entire IAS are standing. So if they are not related with the conceptual framework, then why the purpose of conceptual framework? So what we studied in the previous class, that is relevant for every class we will study in the syllabus, not only this class. So carrying amount means the value which we recorded initially minus the accumulated depreciation for all the years. In the income statement, we will be recording the depreciation for the current year under the heading which is relevant. Under cost of goods sold, under admin, under distribution, don't know. That depends upon the assets purpose for which we are using. बोलिए आशीष जी.
Sir, while in our in Indian companies who are following the Indian accounting standard, they are showing only a separate line item of depreciation in the P&L format. Only one single line item of depreciation.
No. If I will say Indian companies, there are two types. One is which are following Ind AS, and one is which are not following Ind AS, which you can say old Ind GAAP. So old Ind GAAP allows depreciation as a separate line item, but Ind AS is totally comma full stop paste based on IFRS. तो जो लोग IFRS follow कर रहे हैं, Ind AS follow कर रहे हैं, they are not allowed to disclose depreciation as a separate line item. In the notes to accounts, they can mention that this is our cash income, depreciation we have deducted, we are adding as additional performance measures. That's okay. But in
like the Reliance and all the listed companies who are having their annual reports, since we are already doing there are competitors, so we always do the financial statement analysis. But in that we always see only one depreciation amount line item, and for that a schedule is prepared.
That is I am saying schedule. You understand? मेरा यही बोलना है कि आप अगर ध्यान से देखेंगे, आप देखिएगा, मेरे को गारंटी है, मेरे को 1% भी कंफ्यूजन नहीं है. आई एम 100 में 500% श्योर कि जो पीएल अकाउंट बन रहा है रिलायंस का, वहां पीएल अकाउंट में डेप्रिसिएशन लाइन आइटम नहीं है. लेकिन मान लीजिए कॉस्ट ऑफ गुड्स सोल्ड, दे आर सेइंग एनेक्सचर 2 और शेड्यूल नंबर 2. तो जब आप शेड्यूल नंबर 2 के अंदर जा रहे हैं, देन यू आर एबल टू सी द ब्रेकअप ऑफ डेप्रिसिएशन. पीएल अकाउंट के अंदर डेप्रिसिएशन अलग से दिखाना अलाउड नहीं है. Neither IFRS, neither Ind AS. हाँ
बेसिकली वहाँ पे 4-5 हेड है जो रॉ मटेरियल्स
हाँ
और अदर एक्सपेंसेस का एक एनेक्स्टर
हाँ
डेप्रिसिएशन एंड इंक्रीज डिक्रीज इन स्टॉक एंड इफ देयर इज अ परचेज ऑन स्टॉक इन ट्रेड।
हाँ,
तो यही 4-5 अब उसका एनेक्स्टर्स आपका शेड्यूल से उसका डिटेल्स में आता है।
वही तो बोल रहा हूँ, शेड्यूल में दिखा रहे हैं ना। और शेड्यूल मान लीजिए हर कंपनी का अपने हिसाब से क्या बिजनेस कर रहे हैं वो नहीं कर रहे हैं। हाँ
मैंडेटरी नहीं है कि हमको वैसे दिखाना,
नहीं, मैंडेटरी ये है कि आपको डेप्रिसिएशन पीएल अकाउंट में सेपरेट लाइन आइटम नहीं दिखाना है, मैंडेटरी ये है। हाँ, शेड्यूल एनेक्स्चर में आप ब्रेकअप दिखा रहे हैं, वो डिपेंड करता है कि हम कितना ब्रेकअप शो करना चाहते हैं। इट्स अपॉन मी। The IFRS or Ind AS are not showing that कि in the annexure how much breakup you want to show. It's upon you.
अगर ये वाला चीज अपना आईएएस में जो सेलिंग एंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन या ये वाला डेप्रिसिएशन ऑफ सेलिंग एंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन डेप्रिसिएशन ऑफ
हाँ
मैन्युफैक्चरिंग एक्टिविटीज, ये वाला चीज अपना आईएएस का स्टैंडर्ड में कहीं पे ये पर्टिकुलरली मेंशन किया है?
नहीं, ये मेंशन क्यों करेगा? वो लोग तो बोल रहे हैं ना कि इन डेज में पीएल अकाउंट का फॉर्मेट ये है, तो आप डेप्रिसिएशन कहां डालोगे? नॉर्मली सोचो तो नॉर्मली दोज हु हैव स्टडीड, आई विल से दैट सपोज बेसिक लेवल जैसे सीए इंटर पढ़े या वैसे ही जैसे एसीसीए के अंदर जो फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग है तो वहां पर पीएल अकाउंट बनाने वगैरह आता है, तो कभी कभी वो लोग एडजस्टमेंट में देते हैं कि द डेप्रिसिएशन इज टोटल दिस, आउट ऑफ दिस रिलेटिंग टू मैन्युफैक्चरिंग एक्टिविटी दिस, रिलेटिंग टू एडमिन दिस एंड ऑल। तो हम लोग फिर अलग अलग हेडिंग के अंदर डालकर उसको एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन और कॉस्ट ऑफ गुड्स सोल्ड लिखते हैं, बिकॉज ये चीज वो लोग ऐसा सोच रहे हैं कि लिखने की जरूरत नहीं है। ऑब्वियसली अगर जैसे बेयर एक्ट पढ़ते हैं एंड इफ यू स्टडी द इंटायर डिटेल ऑफ इंड एस एंड ऑल दैट विच इज वेरी बिग पेजेस, देन वहां जरूर लिखा होगा, लेकिन ऐसे नॉर्मली किताबों में ये चीज नहीं लिखा रहता, बिकॉज दिस इज एज्यूम्ड एज जनरल नॉलेज फॉर द स्टूडेंट ऐसा। नाउ सत्या, you will mail me the any company single company PL account balance sheet which are following Ind AS, okay, and they are recording depreciation as a separate item in PL account. Please understand again, I am not showing that in the annexure, in the schedule they are not recording depreciation. I am saying in the PL account depreciation is not allowed as a separate item. Okay, you search and you mail next class, then we will discuss, don't worry. अभी टेंशन नहीं लेते हैं, अभी एक बार मेरा बात मान लीजिए, एक्सेप्ट वॉट एवर आई एम सेइंग, ओके, बिकॉज नहीं तो हम लोग पढ़ नहीं पाएंगे कंफ्यूजन में, देन इन दैट केस वी विल नॉट बी एबल टू प्रोसीड। नाउ व्हाट इज डेप्रिसिएशन? somebody will say that depreciation is a normal wear and tear. Somebody will say that depreciation is the decrease in the value of assets because of the usage. All these are bogus definition. Even though an expired of an asset, not getting. You are saying what is depreciation? That let me explain. No. Just let me explain, then there is, because English meaning can be written by many students in a different language. No worry. Let understand basically what is depreciation. So I was saying that somebody will say that depreciation is a normal wear and tear. Somebody will say that depreciation is because of decrease in the value of asset. But the IFRS Ind AS is saying that depreciation is a systematic allocation of depreciable amount of an asset. Systematic allocation means even though there is increase in the value of asset, even though, suppose I have this property, okay, and according to me, I purchased this property around 10 years back. Even though Corona is there, but the property value is more than what I paid earlier, but still I am charging depreciation. So how can I say that depreciation is decrease in the value of asset? I can't say. If the asset value when I purchase maybe 1 lakh, and now after 3 years, suppose 1,30,000, still I am charging depreciation even though there is no decrease in the value of assets. Understand? So depreciation cannot be said as decrease in the value of asset. It's a systematic allocation of the depreciable. What is depreciable amount? For the time being, we will discuss, for the time being, cost minus salvage value at the end of the useful life. But there are many explanations relating to this. For the time being, depreciable amount is cost minus salvage value at the end of the useful life. If I am purchasing this computer, say for 1 lakh, and I am estimating that the computer will be used in my business for 5 years, and I am estimating that after 5 years, the computer can be sold as a scrap for 5,000. So the depreciable amount is 1 lakh minus 5,000, 95,000. Now this is based on assumption estimation. 5 years is my estimation. It can be 6 years, it can be 4 years, God knows. And estimation is that after 5 years, at the end of useful life, I will be able to get 5,000. But I am not God. Nobody is God. Even though somebody are a technical person relating to this area, then also they cannot be perfect. So we say that we are computing the depreciable amount based on estimation, based on assumptions. And we have to take assumptions. Otherwise, we can't record depreciation in the books. It is the original cost minus the estimated realizable value at the end of the useful life. The balance is the depreciable amount. That depreciable amount needs to be depreciated during the useful life of the asset. Which method? Any method you can follow. A straight line, reducing balance, production, whatever. There are many methods. The IFRS is not saying about any method specifically this is good or bad or anything. It's we who consider methods. Now suppose the computer value is 1 lakh and 5,000 will be the salvage value after 5 years. I am going to use the computer for 5 years. So 1 lakh minus 5,000. 95,000 is the depreciable amount. If I am following a straight line method of depreciation, then 95,000 divided by 5. Every year depreciation 19,000. If I am following reducing balance, written down value method of depreciation, then I will calculate depreciation on 1 lakh into rate. 1 lakh into rate. That rate I will apply next year on the balance carrying value. That is original cost 1 lakh minus the first year depreciation. On the balance carrying value, I will apply the rate in the second year. Again in the third year. Whatever is the second year carrying value, I will apply the rate in the third year. So in the reducing balance method, written down value method, depreciation every year will be lower. We all know. But ultimately, the total depreciation in 5 years would be 95,000. Whether it's a straight line, whether it's reducing balance, whether it's any other method coming in your mind. All the method should never be depreciating more than the depreciable amount. Whether the amount are same, whether the amount are less, whatever may be the case. The total depreciation cannot be more than the total depreciable amount. In calculation, when we are using a straight line, then we are deducting salvage value divided by number of years. But in WDV reducing balance, we are straight away calculating on the cost and on the carrying value. But that doesn't mean that the total depreciable amount can be greater than 95,000. That is not allowed. Whatever depreciation rate you will forecast, that depreciation rate should be able to charge a depreciation under reducing balance method, 95,000 total depreciation. Is everybody getting what I am saying? Are you getting my thing? You are not going to calculate, we are not going to calculate written down rate. But whatever will be the rate, the total depreciation can never be more than 95,000. The depreciable amount is need to be charged as a depreciation during the useful life of the asset. For that, we need to estimate salvage value, residual value. Nothing can be done. For that, we need to estimate the total estimated life which we are going to use the asset. We need to estimate. Nothing can be done for that. So what is carrying value? What is depreciable amount? Now the IFRS is basically saying I think the screen is hanged. 1 second. Should I relog in again? I'm changing the slides, but in the software it is not changing. I need to relog in again. Just wait for 1 minute. I'm relogging. Sorry. Extremely sorry for technical issue.